How are you preparing for a post-pandemic return to professional development?
That's an interesting question. We've been reading quite a bit about that. A lot of that's going to have to do with how quickly the vaccines get rolled out, because some of those, I think, as it relates to the stay at home and the virtual environment, we have so many different things in place. So I think we have a good mix of things there. But when people start to come back together, there's going to be a long period of time where you're going to need to have a hybrid environment, where some people are going to want to meet face-to-face. Maybe people have been vaccinated or people who are more comfortable going out. And some people aren't going to go out for a while, even if they get vaccinated, probably. So I think that's the biggest challenge for people, is trying to find that equilibrium between the virtual and the hybrid, and whether they need to be put together in some kind of way or whether they end up being separate things. So you're almost running two tracks. So you're running continuing to run the virtual track, but then you start to develop these face-to-face tracks. I think that's one of the challenges that we're all going to have here. I'm going to be doing a panel next month with a group in DC that represents the association world. There's a newsletter called the CEO Update, and they're going to do a discussion around this topic, around how do we kind of engage and build member value in the post-pandemic era. But I think it's too soon to tell kind of how that will all roll out and how those things will develop over time. But I think for us, we need to be prepared for that hybrid environment where, because we bring in we have thousands of subject matter experts around the world who help us develop our exams. And typically before the pandemic, we would bring in large groups of people who would be here in our offices for as much as a week, developing questions for our exams or developing learning objectives, doing job task analysis, all these different things. That hasn't been going on for almost a year now. So going forward in the future, how many of those people are going to want to come in? And we just surveyed that group recently, and it's still about less than half of people even have authorization to travel. And those that do, not that many of them actually want to come in. So how are you going to set up your testing regimes so that you make sure that people who haven't been vaccinated, some countries like Israel is looking at the vaccination passport, where you could only do certain things in the country if you had been vaccinated. And they've been very aggressive in their vaccine strategy. So I think that's maybe can work for them, but maybe that's not going to work in some other places. So I think we'll have to see how this kind of all rolls out, how many people are in certain positions where they feel comfortable going out, traveling, coming together as a group without all these constraints. I personally, I don't think people want to get together if everybody's still wearing a mask. It kind of defeats the purpose of getting together as a group. So we'll see. I think we need to continue to survey our members, continue to survey our constituents and stakeholders and see where they are.